It all begins with Suho Kim, a struggling civil engineering student from modern-day Korea. Life isn't exactly going his way. Endless exams, crushing job competition, and the constant gnawing question of whether all this effort is worth it. But fate has other plans. Without warning, he's suddenly transported into another world, right into the body of Lloyd Frontera, a lazy, good-for-nothing noble who's managed to make himself the embarrassment of the Frontera family name. The scene is set in a small, run-down estate, barely holding itself together. Debt collectors are practically camping at the front gate, workers are underpaid and unmotivated, and the territory is so poor that even bandits ignore it. Lloyd's father, a stern but desperate lord, is losing hope. Now here's where the hook sinks in. Lloyd's inherited reputation is trash, but Suho's engineering knowledge from the real world? That's a hidden nuke. And watching Lloyd start to piece together how to apply modern civil engineering to medieval poverty is like watching a chess grandmaster take on kindergarten checkers. From calculating water flow to stop crop flooding, to figuring out how to reinforce crumbling roads with primitive materials, we get this beautiful blend of problem solving and world building. The manhwa doesn't just tell you Lloyd's smart, it lets you watch him, think, sketch, measure, and make small victories snowball. It's a slow start, but you can feel that Suho's about to turn this medieval mess into something extraordinary.
This is where Lloyd goes from that weird noble who plays with dirt to the guy who just might save the estate. His first big win? The irrigation project. By applying concepts like slope calculation and water diversion, he transforms stagnant, pest-ridden marshland into fertile farmland. Watching the peasants' disbelief turn into cautious optimism is one of the most satisfying emotional beats in these early chapters. The manhwa really shines here with its pacing. It's not all overnight success. Lloyd deals with pushback from stubborn foremen, technical failures, and the constant drain of limited resources. But every setback becomes a lesson. And here's where you start to notice something. Lloyd isn't just building infrastructure, he's building trust. One standout sequence is when he personally joins the laborers to dig and lay foundations, shocking everyone who assumed nobles avoided manual work. It's not just about physical effort. It's the respect that comes from standing shoulder to shoulder with the people you're trying to help. You can have the best farmland in the world, but if you can't move your goods, you're still broke. Lloyd knows this. His next target? A trade road that could connect the Frontera estate to the wider market. But medieval road construction isn't cheap, and convincing the local merchants to invest is like trying to sell ice to a polar bear. Here's where Lloyd's engineering knowledge gets political. He doesn't just promise better trade, he demonstrates it. Using simple surveying tools he builds himself, he shows how a straighter, better drained road can cut travel time in half. The skeptics aren't fully convinced until he organizes a trial transport. Faster delivery, fewer broken goods, and higher profits. This arc also has a great human moment. Lloyd shares a quiet conversation with his father under the half-finished road, admitting that while he doesn't know how he ended up here, he's committed to making the estate thrive. It's a turning point in their relationship, from reluctant tolerance to mutual respect.
Success attracts attention, and not all of it is friendly. Rival lords start sniffing around, wondering how the once pathetic Frontera estate is suddenly exporting goods and attracting skilled workers. We get our first real taste of political maneuvering, as Lloyd navigates thinly veiled threats, trade negotiations, and sabotage attempts. There's a tense subplot where a nearby lord sends inspectors, clearly spies, to evaluate the new road. Lloyd plays it cool, deliberately showing them parts of the project that look incomplete, while hiding the full scope. Later, when the road's grand opening floods the market with goods, those same rivals are forced to swallow their pride and trade through Frontera territory. This is also where Lloyd starts thinking bigger. It's not just about survival anymore. It's about positioning the estate as a hub of innovation. He begins training a small group of apprentices in basic surveying and construction techniques, planting seeds for long-term growth. The scale of Lloyd's ambitions explodes here. We're talking bridges over dangerous rivers, mills powered by water wheels, and even the beginnings of primitive urban planning. It's in this arc that you can feel the story's unique identity fully crystallize. This isn't just isekai with a smart protagonist. This is a deep dive into what happens when you drop modern engineering into a feudal world and give it time to flourish. One of my favorite sequences in this stretch is the bridge construction arc. The sheer detail, from testing stone durability to calculating load-bearing capacity with medieval math, makes you feel like you're watching a Discovery Channel documentary disguised as a fantasy epic. And because this is still a manhwa, the technical work is peppered with drama. Rival crews, accidents, budget crises, and even nature throwing a flood at them mid-build. By the time the bridge opens, it's more than just a structure. It's a statement. The Frontera estate is no longer a backwater. It's a force. Where we are now is a mix of expansion and new kinds of challenges. Lloyd's projects are running so well that they're drawing both allies and enemies from farther afield. Foreign merchants want in, rival nobles want him gone. And the peasants? They've gone from despair to pride, and with pride comes higher expectations. This part of the story feels like it's laying the groundwork for a bigger stage. Lloyd is no longer just reacting to problems. He's proactively shaping the region's future. He's planning manufacturing districts, negotiating resource rights, and subtly introducing modern concepts like labor contracts and worker safety. The emotional weight is heavier now. Every victory has consequences, and every project could reshape power balances. And the best part? You can feel the manhwa hinting that we haven't even seen Lloyd's boldest ideas yet.
All right, folks, let's wrap up everything we've talked about so far with the greatest estate developer. This isn't just any isekai-style manhwa. This is the story of a man who went from being an average civil engineer in modern-day Korea to the ultimate kingdom-building mastermind in a completely different world. Our main guy, Suho Kim, wakes up in the body of Lloyd Frontera, a spoiled, lazy noble with zero redeeming qualities, at least until Suho's personality takes over. And here's the fun part. Instead of going full warrior or mage like every other isekai protagonist, Lloyd decides to wield his real weapon, modern engineering knowledge. We've seen him turn a failing estate into a thriving powerhouse by introducing roads, bridges, sanitation systems, and economic reforms, all while avoiding countless political traps, scheming nobles, and outright assassination attempts. The early arcs show Lloyd's transformation from a joke of a noble into someone both feared and respected, and the humor hits just as hard as the emotional moments. Throughout the story, we watch Lloyd build alliances, take on impossible construction projects, and outsmart everyone who underestimates him. And the manhwa doesn't just give us blueprints and town upgrades. It mixes in thrilling rivalries, heartfelt relationships, and moments where you genuinely root for him to succeed, because every win feels earned. Whether it's convincing stubborn villagers to trust him, outbidding rich merchants with nothing but his brain, or putting corrupt lords in their place with unbeatable logic, Lloyd always finds a way to make progress, sometimes literally, brick by brick. And as the arcs go on, the stakes get bigger. Wars threaten to undo his work, enemies get more cunning, and the challenges move from simple construction to rebuilding entire regions. At its core, the greatest estate developer is about using brains over brawn, persistence over luck, and proving that the right knowledge can be more powerful than any sword or spell. And if you've been following the breakdowns we've done so far, you know this isn't just a manhwa about building things. It's a story about building people, communities, and a future worth fighting for.
So that's our recap. If you made it this far, you either love sea planning way too much, or you just like watching a guy troll medieval nobles while still somehow saving the world. Either way, you're my kind of viewer. If you enjoyed this summary, go ahead and gently tap that like button. And if you haven't subscribed yet, you're basically living in my videos rent-free at this point. Come on, pay your rent with a sub. It's free. Also, when you're done here, check out my other manhwa videos. I've got a nano machine review that's just as action-packed, and a solo leveling breakdown that will make you want to pick up a sword immediately. Until next time, keep your walls sturdy, your bridges stable, and your nobles confused.